The following video details our experience camping at the orchard at Mount Panorama during the 2022 Bathurst 1000. The views and information in this video are ours, and we understand the unique perspectives that others, having camped at areas around the track, have. We hope that the information contained in this video may entertain or help those hoping to do the same trip. Please ask questions or let us know how you went in 22 using the comment section.
Well, hi guys, my name's Jeff, I'm from the Friday Frothy, and
I'm Ali, and I am from Candid Tourists.
And guys, if you want to keep an eye on what's happening with the trip to Bathurst, go over to Candid Tourists and follow the links there, because Al's doing up videos of our whole trip.
All so segments of the trip. I put it into a series for each, part of the way we travelled up there. So I think the first one's up to Devonport. We stayed the night, and then Devonport through to Albury through to Bathurst, and then we
what happened?
During Bathurst, and then following Bathurst, we had a bit of a trip after that too. So if you're interested, make sure you pop on over to the channel, or you're on the channel now.
Yeah, well that is true.
Very interested.
That is true. Like and share, guys. As you can
subscribe.
see,
if you subscribe, that way, when new videos come out.
Roger that. I was just going to say, we're obviously back home. We're back here in Hobart, Tasmania, where we live. Interesting times at Bathurst, being so wet. It's 2022, if you're watching this in years to come, and we experienced Bathurst for the first time at its glory, didn't we?
We experienced it all right. We certainly did.
When they say wear mud gumboots to Bathurst, take gumboots to Bathurst. It's a serious thing. So
now before we go on,
for
the viewers of Candid Tourists, this setting looks a little bit different, and the reason I've done that is because we are filming for both of the channels. So we are in the studio for the Friday Frothy right now, and I'm going to share this on my channel as well, with some of the video that I took when we were on our trip away. So if it looks a bit different, Candid Tourists isn't changing. It's just that we're
combining the two.
We're combining like Wonder Twin power. Look out!
Yeah, and just to let you know, I said it in the intro while we were walking through Bathurst that we tried to find information, first timers, weren't we? And we didn't know what was going to go on, what was going to happen, what the atmosphere was going to be like.
We actually got onto a Facebook site, because right before we left, it was actually a couple of months before we left, we hooked into a Facebook site called Bathurst Campers. Yeah. And we were, we were reading all the different posts that were put onto Facebook Campers.
It's a good hint to get onto it.
No, we were reading all the posts that were on Bathurst Campers. And there was a lot of interesting mixed information there, and there were people who were being really helpful, and some people maybe that weren't being very helpful. There was a lot of questions unanswered, and there were a lot of questions that were excellently answered. So this is part of the reason why we wanted to put this together.
So hopefully, if Bathurst is on your bucket list, this is going to help you. And we're going to talk about all these items, and then we're going to throw some footage up as well of where we've been and what we've done that link into these things that we're talking about. So let's just get going now. Let's start it off. I'm gonna try and put it in order of getting there, the campsite, to all the way to leaving, and in between. Yeah. Yep.
Let's do this. Let's do it.
Purchase.
Hang on.
Oh,
I need my energy up for this one, I think.
Got to have a frothy. Getting a campsite for Bathurst is the first thing you've got to do. And
if you're planning on camping there.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, which is what we're talking about. So.
And the different campsites.
We didn't access the top of the mountain, so that's the only thing we can't talk about. So when you go onto the Supercars site, you actually go on there. Every year they have vacant sites to purchase, and pretty much if you've already got a site like we have, we get first preference now of that site if we want to go next year. So that's our site now. If we continue to go year after year after year, we will maintain that site, and that'll be ours. If we don't, it gets given up and someone else can then buy it. You go onto V8 Supercars, into camping, and then they'll have all the available campsites that you're allowed to buy. I can't remember, Al. I think it was, as I said, it's 2022. I'm pretty sure it was around $495 per site. And that was for a 7 by 7 metre site.
You Yeah, you pay for the size as well. So the 7x7 metre side, I think, cost us about $495.
But that's for the week.
That's for the week.
That's for the week. We got there on Tuesday, and we left on the Monday. So, is that exy? I don't know. I don't think it is. I think it was all right.
No, I don't think so. I think you've got facilities, which we'll talk about later, that you've got access to. Those things cost money, and that's fair enough. I mean, it would comparable to a caravan park. You're paying $50 a night, and you do that for 5 nights.
Yep.
It's double that. But
the other thing that happens, Al, is once you've paid for your ticket or for your camping, Supercars will end up, or Ticketek will end up sending you a sticker which goes on your car, which is really hard to get off.
Actually, it wasn't so hard to get off. I actually used a soft scourer. Are we jumping ahead here?
No, you're right.
Yeah, when the sticker goes on, it goes on the left-hand side of your vehicle.
Well, it doesn't have to. It can be on either.
Well, it's just so they can easily... They really didn't. But as you drive through, it's accessed by the people who are at the gate and saves them sort of wandering around your car.
Yep.
But it's quite difficult to get off. Someone actually asked how to get it off on Facebook, which was really interesting, some of the answers there.
Come on.
But... I used hand sanitizer and a scourer, like a soft scourer, and it came off.
It's a big sticker,
easy as.
And basically that's your ticket to get your car into the campsite, and it's got your details on there and your campsite number and all that sort of stuff, so they can just see it when you drive in.
So the campsites themselves, so if you are thinking about going into Bathurst, you can't actually go on now. It's October now, end of October. You can't go in now and start paying for your campsites, because what will happen is early next year, they will send out some information to all the people who had camped there in 2022.
Yep.
They'll find out how many campsites they have vacant, which they will then offer on, and for those that want to return to Bathurst, they obviously get first dibs, like Jeff said.
Yep.
And that generally happens around, it's around March, around that time of the year, from what I could tell on what people were saying on Facebook. But just keep checking. Like from about March on, just keep going into the site and checking if you are wanting to camp at Bathurst.
Yep.
And for those of you that have already camped, you'll receive some information anyway. It'll come straight to you.
Talk about the campsites, Al. We'll put some pictures up now of our site. We chose the Orchard B, and the reason for that is because we wanted a powered site. Very limited powered sites. I think there's Orchard B and the motorhomes. I'm pretty sure, maybe some paddock. I can't be sure, guys, but we wanted the powered site, and that's why it cost a little bit extra, $495. Well worth it for us though, because we used it a lot and all the time.
Well, you did. And Jeff's got a machine that he has to plug in at night time.
It keeps me alive.
So we kind of really needed the power there.
The lady
on the battery.
The lady on the Spirit of Tasmania called it an anti-snore device.
Yes, she
so
did,
there you go.
It wasn't quite that.
There you go. It's a CPAP machine, guys, to keep me breathing at night time. So I wanted power, and very, very limited on sites for power. So you've got to choose that. Another big question, Al, is water.
Well, water was another really interesting one that came up quite a lot in the Facebook group as well. Water, we took our own in. We had our own 20-litre drums. We filled up a couple of those and took that in with us. We also had some water in the van itself that we could access. And our drinking water, we took bottles of that, or the Mount Franklin boxes that you get.
Lots of drinking water.
The only access, there aren't taps everywhere. There's a couple. There's scattered ones.
Yeah.
So you might have one sort of up near an amenities block, and then there might be another random one near a fence somewhere. So there are taps that you can go to, and the person who was camping next to us would often go with his container, and he'd go and collect that up.
Yep.
How sanitary they are in the conditions that we camped in, that's questionable. But water's water coming out. If you're only using it for
washing up and
washing
the mud off your feet and off your face and off your arms and legs.
I'd be a bit wary about using it for drinking water, but for general camping kind of washing up, scrubbing, that kind of thing.
So don't think the campsite is a caravan park, because it's not. It is, some are raised, some are level, some are flat, some are you've got to drive up to try and get into them. There is no plug-in water. Most campsites, as I said, no electricity. It's pretty. It's a farm.
Some campers use their they have grey water tanks. I saw a hell of a lot of other caravans that just had their hose.
With the amount of rain that we got, it didn't really matter what was going on.
No, but
really.
You know, they were the things that people asked. You know, do you have to take that away? And from
Yep.
what I could see, it was just, you know, whatever basically you had there.
Yep.
We didn't use the grey water we really didn't use it a lot at all.
We just didn't eat.
In the van.
And we'll get to this shortly on the weather conditions and stuff like that. But just to let you know, the roads in and around the campsite, some of them are bitumen, but most of them are just compacted dirt.
Yeah,
and that dirt turns to mud really quickly.
It's that real fine, it's sort of like a dust. It kind of comes off. When it's dry, it's really, really hard. As soon as the water gets to it, it's that real slippery, muddy. Yeah.
All right, Gert. Sorry, Al's name for me is Gert, if I say that. Arriving at Bathurst, we decided to get there early. Tuesday, wasn't it?
Well, the Orchard Beach campsite is open from 9. It was open 9 a.m.
Tuesday morning. Where all the McPhillamy and Solomon Reed and everything, they're all open on the Sunday, I think.
Were they?
Yeah, you can get in early.
I think you can get in a little bit early, it depends.
Yeah.
But our particular site was open on the Tuesday. So we
were going to get there on Wednesday.
We were going to get there on Wednesday, but then we had a little check of the weather report and we rushed our trip from Albury through to Bathurst. We were going to break it up with another night stay somewhere.
Yep.
And we did that because we didn't want to arrive on the Wednesday because we knew there was going to be some rain. And
also the fact that there was a lot of flooding going on. So we didn't know if we were going to get diverted to different places and things like that. And
no one likes to set up their camp in the rain, and that's what we avoided, and we did that really well. It's a beautiful sunny day when we got there, and we set up, and we had...
And the lineup, Tuesday.
Tuesday's lineup was...
Were there 3 cars in front of us?
What time did we get there?
11, 12, 1, 2, I don't know, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
Was it 2 o'clock?
I think so. It was in the afternoon.
I'll check the video.
Because it was a big drive. But the lineup wasn't bad. And most days it wasn't too bad. It's incredible how quickly they get them in. And a lot of people will say, well, we can take you through this process now of what you can take, what you can't take, and the procedure, you know, what they're like. And it was completely different to what we expected. We were expecting to open everything up, pull everything out, go through the car. How much grog have you got? Oh. So 2022... What you could take is 1 carton of beer.
We haven't even got to go in. You're jumping ahead too much.
Am I?
Yeah.
But I'm talking about what we can take.
So when we got there, we drove up to the gate. It was just Jeff and I in our vehicle, and obviously we had a couple behind us that were joining us.
Cora and Ange, yep.
And the very first thing they do is check your ticket. So you need to have a ticket to get into the event.
Yes.
And you also need to have your camp booking stickers as well. They check all of that, and then they come around and they give you a little bracelet. Now this is a lockable bracelet. They say don't put it on too tight enough that it's not going to slip off, but not too tight that it's going to strangle your wrist, because it's a bit annoying to have to try and get another one. And that is basically the key to everything.
Yeah,
having that on your wrist, like you don't have to show any of your other passes unless, of course, you're going into the paddock.
Yep.
That
was the only time.
And you can have that on your phone and have it scanned, or you could take a ticket with you if you had a lanyard or something. That'd be fine.
Paddock is the pits. Yeah. And we'll cover that soon.
And getting in and out of the orchard there was no one really checking. They were just checking your wristband, and that was basically it.
Yeah. So that was quite easy. When we got to the checkpoint, the girl was pretty new, and I think your attitude is how you get through. If you're in a crappy mood and you're not nice to them, they're going to be blunt with you and check over. Obviously, we were friendly and first time there.
Yeah, I mean, there'd been a couple of changes. I think in the past they were looking for things like axes and weapons and all sorts of
shovels.
stuff. So it must have been pretty bad up there at some point. But we basically got asked if we had some alcohol in the back, which we did.
Yep.
Jeff got out.
Opened the boot,
showed them, said this is what we've got. It was all fine, away you go.
And made it easy. You know, like it was sitting there. I hadn't even put it in the esky. It was just sitting there. There's our 2 boxes of grog. Have you got any firearms? No. Have you got any of this? No. You're good to go.
Yeah.
But and we'll get onto this in a second. How do we find our campsite? Oh, I don't know. You just have to ask. There's a lot of friendly people. Yes, that is so true. So true. All right. So what can you take? If you get to your campsite, and look, it's very rare that, or it's not rare, but you're probably not going to encounter the weather that we encountered. But if you get to your campsite and you know that it's just a bog, don't try getting in. Go and talk to someone at security or at the front gate and just say, we can't get into our campsite, and they will suggest another site for you. So many people just did it. They went in and the vans went that deep, didn't they? And these poor buggers who were camping, in tents.
They do have some in reserve.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yep. So ask.
For example, the guy that was up the road camping from us last year, he said he got this site this year because last year the site that he was in, they had a sewage problem where there was sewage coming through his site.
Yep.
So they were able to move him across for that time, and that's how we ended up with staying there again for this year. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask someone if things aren't going well. They may or may not be able to help you.
Yep.
But there's no harm in asking, just in case.
That's right. So what can you take in 2022, Al?
So you can take 1 carton per person per day. That doesn't include the big slabs of 30 that you can get, like your Tuies or BB.
They'll make you pour out.
They actually take six of the cans out and pour them out, or just chuck them in the bin.
Yeah.
So you can't take a 30, but you can take 24, and that could be 24 of any beer of your choosing.
Yep.
It has to be in a can.
Yes.
If you want spirits, it has to be in a can also.
There is no glass allowed at all.
You can still take 24 of that. So what we did is we had a carton of 24 Jim Beams and we had a carton of beer, all in cans. They say you can take a bottle of spirit in, but you can't take glass. So if you were going to take a bottle of spirit in, you'd have to probably get, I think Jim Beam sell a 500ml in a plastic. So, but it wouldn't be worth it taking that in. You just take the cans in with you. No glass at all.
Except for a small Vegemite
And I
jar.
get that because people were sliding around in the mud, and you can imagine if there was some arsehole smashing their glass bottles everywhere, they'd cut you up pretty bad.
Shreds. Yeah.
So, and that included food in the van too. So they asked that you don't bring any glass in the van. So that's over about 250ml. So if you want to take a 500 gram bottle of strawberry jam in, you've got to go with the small one.
Look, to be honest with you, you'd probably get away with it. We just check for grog, but we're pretty, elderly, sensible looking people.
I think that's what they really are looking for, because they know that, if you think historically or at any time on a weekend, it's people drinking lots.
Yeah.
And the untidy behaviour that can come with that. So I think that's really what they're concentrating on.
You are allowed to go out into town each day and buy another carton of beer per person. So if you've got 4 people in your car, you can come back with 4 cartons of beer each day. Some people break that rule and go back twice. But yeah, man, you're not going to see the race.
But you can't do that either, because what they'll do is they'll take your rego of your car and they check that.
I don't think that's...
Yeah.
I don't know. They just seemed really good. So just be nice to them, and hopefully they'll be nice to you. So
rules are rules. You get caught, you lose it, and you don't always spend $80 on a bottle of a carton of Jim Beams and have it all tipped out into the bin.
Our experience was fantastic.
Yeah, we had no issues at all.
Just drove straight in.
I think over the weekend I only went out another time, so we took that in with us initially, and then we went out and we got another carton of Jim Beam and another one of beer.
Carton of beer, yeah. And
that basically lasted us the whole time. And we even had that later when we were heading down the coast. And we're pretty good drinkers.
I think I just finished some of that off tonight. But anyway, yeah.
We're good drinkers.
Well, it depends where you stay. And once again, we'll get onto this in a minute, where you can drink and where you can't drink. Because there is camping grounds where you can actually see the track and you can drink. And there's camping grounds where we stayed, you can't see the track.
Yeah.
But you can drink, but you can't take your drinks into the track. So we'll get onto that in a minute. Now we've got through the checkpoint we're in. We've got our little Bathurst wristband, which is our entrance now. When we drive in, we show our band. When we walk into the track, we don't have to show our passes or any lanyards or anything like that, or our phone. We just show the band and they let you in. So that's your new ticket now. So now we're inside. We're trying to find our site. We are Bathurst virgins, and
I don't think it matters if you're a virgin or you're an expert.
This is one of the most terrible, disgusting things that these guys do. It's so bad. What they do
terrible, disgusting.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Why you said disgusting?
I don't know. Let's start that again.
No, let's leave it in. That's
this is one of the horrible things about camping at Bathurst. They go around and they actually they line mark the campgrounds, right? Which is a farm.
Yes,
right?
It's a farm. Yes.
Some sites are 7x7, some are 7x15 or something, and they're all different sizes. But they just use line marking paint, spray, and they spray a number on it, 127000, whatever it is, and they do that when.
Well, in 2022, 4 weeks before the campsite opened, they mowed it all. This is according to one of the locals. Yep. They mowed it all. They put all the line markings in. They spray painted the numbers on the grass in yellow and purple. And then 4 weeks later... You
know how much rain we've had in 2022.
All the rain, and also the fact that the grass has now grown. We had to try and find the site.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So, but it's funny, isn't it?
It is.
You're driving up and down, and everyone's just leaning out the window, going, "What number are you, mate? I don't know. What number are you, mate? What number are you, mate?" It's hilarious.
I got to throw in that the streets are named, right? They all have names on them, and they have street signs. But because it's Bathurst, they're all been stolen. So there is no street signs.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they're all broken off. They all have a street name.
Right.
But yeah, so as Al said, all you can do is just ask people, what number are you? And you just sort of try and work out up and down.
Well, it didn't work for us because we took the ride. We should have taken the first ride after we went through the booth. We didn't. We went the next one up. So we've asked about 5 people. And then finally somebody said to us, "Oh, it's painted on. It's painted on the grass," and told us the story. So we got out of the car, and I'm basically walking alongside the car, calling out the numbers as I could potentially read them.
You could just see them at that stage.
Just see them. I'll show you a picture up here now. But yeah, only just.
This is Tuesday. People are still coming in on Saturday. Saturday, there's nothing left.
No.
There's just nothing.
Because we've had another really good 2 days of rain, and there's nothing.
So don't feel bad when you get in there, guys, and you start asking people, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
You just
and everyone
found
it. We had the father and a son who got there on the Saturday.
Poor buggers.
And they must have been driving around for about an hour and a half. And we were really worried about them because we tried to help them, and Ange and Jeff were chatting with them the whole time, trying to help direct them up streets. And finally, late Saturday night, I think we went for a walk, and we saw that they were just setting up.
Yeah.
And I really felt for them. Ange came up with a really good idea for the organisers, and that might be just put it in a star picket with numbers beginning and ending, so that at least you can count up. Because the white lines that marked out the spots, they were fine. So you could actually count your own way out. You didn't really necessarily need the number.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine it'd be a huge thing to organise. That's why they spray it. Otherwise,
it's massive.
It'd be huge. There's thousands and thousands of campsites. Well, not thousands, but...
Well, there is.
Well, there is, yeah.
There is.
So, to have to try and tag each one. I know spray paint's the best way, but, yeah, it's damn hard to find your spot.
Just talked about people helping you out and the friendliness of people and
it's great, isn't it?
We all had the same feeling, and everyone you talk to, your first Bathurst is, what is this going to be like? Because you hear all these stories about people who are just drunk and lighting fires and blowing up cars and police being everywhere. I think we saw the police, once or twice? No, we're just doing a routine check.
Yeah, they drive through the campground every now and then.
Mind you, we are down the bottom, Orchard B and Orchard A and Orchard C, the Chase, the motorhomes, is all down behind, or sort of behind the Ridges Hotel, just back from the Chase, Caltex Chase on Conrod Strait. But yeah, look, I just wanted to say, look, we didn't go to the top of the mountain, and I know it's different up there because you can drink all day and you can see the track and people are a lot louder.
Corey and Ange did.
Yeah.
They went up for a bit of a look. I chose not to. It was no other reason except that I probably had too much to drink, and
it was just too wet for me.
It was just too wet.
Yeah.
I couldn't been bothered, but which is a bit sad. You got there not to go up there, but they came back and reported that that people having a ball up there.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the lower campsites, as I said, in the orchard and stuff, you will find that the majority of people down there are between their 40s and 60s. Everyone there is just so polite, so nice. Everyone talks to each other. Everyone's helpful. There's no yahooing. Oh, there's a little bit of yahooing, but I mean, not much. They're pretty strict with their rulings at Bathurst now. You get to about 11 o'clock and it's pretty much lights out. They try
security will come around and ask you to turn it down if you go sort of over the mark. But then that being said, on Friday night, there was still a party going on about 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. So it just...
Yeah, it just depends. It depends.
It really depends.
But don't be worried about going in and thinking that you're just going to have people yahooing around you or not, except for Mr. Whippy at 11 o'clock at night.
You know what will keep you up?
And fireworks.
There's no daytime napping from about Thursday through to Sunday because the helicopters...
I've never seen anything like it. 6 helicopters.
There's about 6 helicopters that are just constantly going around and around. They make more noise than the campers.
Absolutely incredible, Al.
So you'd have nothing to worry about.
All right, another big
decoration of campsites is also something really fun to see. The one thing that I really enjoyed was coming back it was the Friday, I think, after we watched the concert, the hip replacements. And at that time, at that time there was so many campers, and there was just like this fog of all the smoky wood fires, and there were people doing all sorts of stuff with different meats, and you could smell all that coming through. Like all these meals just smelled delicious. You had the smog, and then you had the laughing, you had the music, and it almost felt like we were a whole bunch of refugees together, all living in this huge community. And it was just there, the sights, the smells. As you're walking through, it was, I just loved that. That was really good.
Going back to the atmosphere of the place, it was like every time someone walked past our campsite to go to the toilet or the shower, they'd stop for 2-3 minutes just to have a chat.
Yeah.
And
that was good.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
And the decorations, like I said, were great. We had all sorts of things like skeletons up, and some people go into so much effort.
Oh, some incredible setups.
There are some incredible setups, and they were just, they were amazing.
They were
so well done to
amazing.
those people who put those together. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah, cool. All right, another big question, Al, is where can I take alcohol? Where can we drink? There is three.
There are three.
There are 3 campsites where you can take alcohol in to the racetrack, and that is Reed Solomon, McPhillamy, up the top of the mountain, and also, I believe, the paddock. You can actually there's some non-licensed areas where you can actually drink your own alcohol and take it in, and that's why they get a lot rowdier than the other places. For us in the orchard, the Chase, the motorhomes, I don't know about Max Cameron. Everything that's down in that Chase area.
I'd say it'd be Max as well.
Yeah, we were allowed to drink anywhere within our campgrounds, but as soon as we stepped foot into the track, it was licensed area, so you had to buy from inside the track.
And a licensed area means they've actually got a what do they call them? They're food truck things set up selling alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's basically license.
And if you're interested, it was all mid-strength, 3.5.
It was. They had Northern.
Great Northern.
Great Northern.
I mean, this will change over the years, but it was Great Northern. There was Summersby apple cider. There was, you could buy Jim Beam and Ned's and all that sort of stuff, but they were all 3.5%. So,
no full stuff.
And I think they were about $8.50.
No, they're about $9. I think it was $9.50 for each beer.
Yep.
And
so pretty exy for a mid-strength.
Yeah, and I think when Ange and Corey, because they were drinking, what were they having? They were having some sort of spirit drink, and that was $12.50.
Yeah, that was the Ned.
That was the Ned.
The Ned and Dry 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're your options for drinking. Obviously, when you're paying $9 or $10 a can, whatever it was, or $12.50 a can, you don't drink a lot when you're in there. And
the other option would be go corporate.
Depends how much money you want to spend. But all right, let's.
Or who you know.
Let's talk about how far away you are from the track and how you get in. Once again, we're at Orchard B. We're down behind Ridges Hotel. It's a long walk.
It is a walk.
It's a long walk.
It is a walk, and it's quite uphill. If you were if you're having mobility issues, it would be really, really tricky. However, that being said, Repco did have a golf cart that they were using to pick people up. How they'd managed to get down the streets where we were, I don't know. Well, if they had more of that, I think that'd be really good, because there was an elderly gentleman who wasn't able to come to the track. I was chatting with his wife because he just couldn't walk up the hill. So then that's a bit disappointing.
Our actual neighbours had their mother there, and they were driving up to the track and parking up to the top. It got that muddy that they just couldn't get in and out of their car park, so they couldn't do it. So they actually left on the Saturday, so which is pretty sad. But,
So definitely they do have a disabled parking spot, which is just down from Ridges, which is down near the Chase, and they have got some marquee sort of set up, so if you were wheelchair bound, and you could actually go up and you could watch the race from that particular spot. So that's as they come down through the Dunlop tyre and go around the bend and up straight. But the car park where they have to park, the disabled parking, because of the rain,
everything was just mud.
I don't know how you would actually get a wheelchair into that and out. They put all bark chips and things down, but have you ever tried to push a wheelchair through a bunch of bark chips that are covered in mud? It just, the accessibility for disabled people at the race, I think, needed attention.
For anyone.
And for the elderly who are there wanting to enjoy
for a race that's been going so long, for how much money they make out of the race, it was pretty pathetic. We spent...
Big words.
Pathetic. Well, it was. This is one thing I'm really disappointed in the fact that everywhere you went around the track, because there was so much rain and there was so much mud, if you wanted to go and buy a beer or something to eat, you had to line up in big lineups. But you're in that deep mud.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
And Bathurst has been around for a long time. Surely they know that that's where the food vans and the drink vans are going to be. Put a concrete slab in. I don't understand why they won't spend any money unless they don't own it and they're not allowed to do it. But anyway, that's another story.
It's a good question.
But guys, you will do a hell of a lot of walking. It's a long way. I reckon it's
about a kilometre. Yep. From where we were at the bottom of the orchard as well, so we had to walk all the way up and then up through the gate and around. So,
and your entrances, if you know Bathurst, which you probably do if you're watching this, because Bathurst is the best. It's behind Ridges. There's three entrance gates that we can access from our campgrounds.
Yeah, it's one a bit further up that takes you just before Ridges, one at Ridges and one just beside.
But you still had to walk up.
You still had to walk.
Up to Ridges.
Yeah.
Accessing the track, just a word of advice. If you do get there on a Tuesday or Wednesday, you can go and walk the track. You can go on and have a look around and take photos and walk up. We'll put some footage up. You can walk up the main straight, the start. You can go anywhere on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, basically. And then they shut down the road and...
Basically,
actually not Thursday, sorry.
When the transponder parade comes is when they usually start shutting it down and getting it ready.
You should put a bit of that in as well.
Yep, put the transponder in.
We went into town and we watched all the things. That was very disappointing, but anyway.
I was disappointed.
Well,
it can't be all disappointing.
It's fantastic, but these are the things that, we was lined up. There was a lot of people.
We didn't know that the parade was going to turn the corner.
It was pouring down.
We missed all the drivers,
and all the trucks came up and they came past us. And there was an intersection just down the road, probably 100 metres. The trucks are coming past, trucks are coming past. Fantastic. It was so good. And all these kids are all lined up the road. And then the trucks stopped. And then the drivers came in there, their sporty little cars, their Corvettes and Mustangs and all that sort of stuff. And they went around the intersection. So all the people from this intersection to the next intersection didn't see the drivers. It was
the reason why they did that is because they actually stop in, I think it must have been Town Hall, and they do some signing and so on.
It'd be nice if they let people know, that's all.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
If you're going to the drivers to display when they drive in, go down further down the road so you don't miss it.
The intersection where the Knickerbocker is, go further down the hill, or in around that park where they usually have a little bit of a food cans and things like that on that side.
Yep.
Good viewing spots, but
put amenities up here. Let's talk amenities.
Amenities.
Showers, toilets.
Oh my goodness.
Is there enough?
Well, I never had to wait. And that's a lot to be said for how many people were in the campsite. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, they're Portaloo toilets, honestly. They're always a bit,
Oh,
a
look.
bit cruddy.
It was so muddy. You can't keep
No,
them.
but
You can't keep them clean.
Initially, it wasn't though. Like the first day was fine. You were and the second day wasn't too bad either. So you go in there and you could use the toilet, no issues, nice and clean. They were getting cleaned up, and the showers. The showers were something like out of Star Wars. They're all modular.
Yeah, they were pretty cool.
They were pretty good. The one I went in though,
That wasn't cool.
that wasn't cool because the heat setting, you can't change them. The ones that we had. You couldn't go in and actually change the heat setting, and this one was coming out. So everyone who came out of shower number 3 was on fire.
They'd open up the door because you lined up, and like you said, you didn't line up, but you did line up for the showers.
A little, not really.
Well,
one
I did. But you'd be lined up, and someone would come out of number 3, and I just remember this guy coming out, and he was just swearing his head off, going, "Oh my God, oh shit!" And as he's opened the door, the steam just woof came out. And I just looked at him and said, "Is that hot, mate?" "Oh, bloody hell, don't go in there."
I have to stand against the door and just do this with my hands really quickly to
It
try
was
and
so
get some
hot.
water on me to get showered that day.
It was so
I learnt
hot.
my lesson. I didn't go to 3 after that.
But they do have them placed around all
They
around
do.
the sites.
There's plenty of them there, and I believe that some of the other ones had the temperature controls and things like that.
Yeah.
The
But all in good nick and not old. They were
they're
all new.
all good.
All new.
And they were sort of getting maintained, and then come day, well, this is probably on the Thursday. By the Thursday, there was no toilet paper left in any of the toilets. The rain on Thursday, like Wednesday, Thursday, had made it really boggy. So when you opened up the Portaloo, it looked like somebody had just had a diarrhea attack on the ground because all the mud had been walked in on the bottom. So
gross, yeah.
it wasn't poo, it was actually just mud. Poo. And then getting to the shower, you had to scorch through a big mud pit. It looked like a bunch of cattle had gone through there over the last month.
Yeah.
And then you're in the shower, you're ankle deep in water because of all the mud that's been dragged into the floor of the shower. It's clogged up the drain holes, so none of the water can actually drain out in the way it's meant to.
Yeah.
So you're standing in mud and showering. That was gross.
Once again,
it was absolutely gross.
Don't want to be a negative Nancy, and I know they don't own this property. It's leased out for the camping, but they could put a temporary decking or flooring or something down, knowing that that's where the amenities are going to be. Because
I don't know what they
once
could do
again,
to
the
fix
mud
it.
was like that getting into
But
the
I
toilet.
think it's really, for me, it did make sense, and I didn't care. Like, it's all right. I got showered, and then I went back to the camp, and I washed my feet. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
But when you think about how much extra effort's going to be needed to clean out their tanks, like the people who own these facilities, they're going to have this like a ton of mud in their tank. And how do you clean that out? I'd hate to be working for the company who provided the amenities for Bathurst this year.
My opinion, if you're a camper and you've got a toilet, take a toilet.
Yeah.
We set our toilet up and it's just so worth having. Or you can hire a toilet.
You can hire your own toilet. A lot of people have done that.
Yeah.
And, let's face it, we spent a lot of time up at the track, and the toilets that were up near the track in Harris Park were fine.
They were mint.
Yeah.
They were mint. They were just cleaned all the time. So, absolutely mint.
So it didn't really bother us, until such times we were back at our campsite anyway. And even then, it was just one of those things that you just had to tolerate.
Yep.
It's not their fault. It rained. And
no. Well, Al, just on hiring a toilet, what are some of the other things that you can hire or you can get while you're at the campsite?
Well, they have a firewood guy who can come around and deliver firewood for you. I don't know how he did that because he wouldn't be able to see a number anywhere. And
Well, I had to direct him a couple of times because he didn't know. He was asking the same thing.
There's ice, people with ice.
Yep.
They drive around in utes and they sell you ice.
Ice, $5
Not
a
like
bag.
meth ice, like ice to put in your drinks.
Yeah, Roger. Yep.
And keep your stuff cold.
Yep.
Glad we clarified that one.
Yep.
What else did they have? They had at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
It went through to 11 o'clock at night.
Mr. Whippy van.
You get ice cream.
I don't know if it was somebody with a stereo speaker having everyone on, or whether it was a
Mr.
true Whippy van. But anyway, that was ding, 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 ding.
After
ding,
Saturday,
ding,
it stopped
ding,
though
ding,
because
ding,
everyone was getting bogged. He couldn't get through, so that
was hilarious.
Also, you can hire a caravan as well. They will actually put a caravan. I don't know who does it, but you can.
And marquees. So you can organise to have marquees set up on your side as well.
Like the big wedding ones.
The big white ones. They weren't white after 2022.
No, but you could organise them to get.
What else
get
did
them
they
set
bring
up.
around? There was.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
Toilets, firewood, ice, ice cream. No fireworks. You can't apply every night. Bang, 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 and you just fireworks every single
Funniest
night.
one though, because you could hear them up over the weekend, and that was all up on the top of the mountain. It was really loud, and I thought, where's it all coming from? And I thought it was close to us.
Yeah,
but it's all on the mountain, and you look up and you can see them all going off. And then on the very last night, someone must have brought in a firework. It must have been about this round filled with gunpowder.
That was huge, wasn't it?
It went off and it just went.
The place shook
like that.
Boom!
And the whole place shook.
Ooh.
And everyone in the orchard, you could actually hear everyone simultaneously all at once went, ooh.
That was huge. That was huge.
Thing I've ever heard in my life. But everyone ever heard, like thousands of people at once went, ooh. So I don't know who that was, but you gave us a thrill there.
Let's get back in the toilet. Dump sites. So if you take your own toilet, you need to be able to dump your toilet, you dump your waste if you use it for both ones and twos. We only use ours for twos, but you don't need to know about that.
I think there was one dump site somewhere.
There was a temporary one up at the top showers on the way to the track.
Yes, there was. Yeah.
I believe there might have been a couple of those, so they were just a big tank that you go and empty it into. There's one in town as well.
They closed the one that was at the council. There was one in town that closed, and it's only available for commercial use. And I think that's why they put the temporary ones up at Bathurst.
Yep.
And they advise people not to go to town to use that one because you can't anymore.
Yep.
You have to use the one that's provided. Clothing was pretty.
You just don't know. You got to be prepared for wet, dry, hot.
Yeah.
Mud.
A brolly. Definitely bring a brolly.
You got to be prepared for everything.
It was cold.
It was freezing.
It was cold this year, and
except for the race day when the sun came out, it was so hot.
It was almost 4 seasons during the race.
Yeah.
But I'd suggest just bring for cold nights, warmer days,
waterproof shoes or boots, because if it rains, it just gets muddy.
If there's one thing I've learnt is if it's ever going to rain, which it often does anyway during the Bathurst race, take a pair of wellies with you.
Yep.
You will not be disappointed with your choice.
Yep.
As much as you have to lug those things around, I know they're annoying.
Yep.
If you've got them, take them.
Bit of fun things around the track to do. The Bathurst Museum, Al.
That's a great one.
I love it. Love it. So much history.
That is a great one.
So much history. We'll put a bit of footage on that. I did that for the froth.
Yeah.
But all the older cars, and it just it's worth having a look. It's cheap. Their clothes is cheap.
The clothes are cheap. Yeah.
When you want to buy some stuff, outside, go to the museum because it's really really cheap stuff, and it's really good. The best place to watch the race when you're a virgin at Bathurst. and once again, we asked people, we talked to so many people who've been there for 20, 30 years, where's the best place to go? Now, we can't give you advice on the top of the mountain because we didn't go up there. But down the bottom of the track, we went to nearly every location that you could, well, we did. We went to every location that we could possibly walk to. You can't walk up to the mountain. You have to catch the top of the mountain. You've got to catch a bus because it's
about $5.
It's all private property, so there's no walking tracks. There's no road that you can access.
You can access most of the bottom of a hill, but like you said, you've got to get on the bus to go up the top.
Yep.
You can't walk from the bottom to the top.
Yep. So my personal preference was to set up straight up on top of the Caltex Chase on Conrod Straight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Reason for that is because that's where all the action happened. That's where all the people went off the track. You've got a big TV screen straight across in front of you. The one thing about Bathurst is, and I was really worried about this, is because I've watched Bathurst every year religiously all my life, and the TV coverage is just so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
When you watch it live, you know, it's two minutes roughly to get around, depending if it's rating, it's 2 minutes 30. So you see them all go past, and then you've got to wait two minutes, 6 seconds, or 3 seconds, whatever it is, for all the cars to come back again. So you're watching the TV anyway to see what's happening around the track. But when you're sitting at the chase, you can see them come down a bit of Conrod. You can see them come into the chase. You can see them go around to the corner, and then you can also see them coming up Mountain Straight as well.
Yeah, it was a good spot.
Hell's Corner, I think it is. I need your hat. so yeah, that for me was probably good. We went and watched a couple of races down on the straight at the starting line, and that was cool because they've got big TVs, a lot of atmosphere, and you know.
Yeah, and you got all the pits action as well, the pit action in front of you.
Yep. The other good place was I can't think of the corner, but at the end of the start finish line at the straight. And it goes the left-hander up to Mountain Straight. I should know it, but I don't. That was pretty.
Sacrilege.
I know that was pretty good too. But guys, as I said, you will do a lot of walking there. It's just you're just on your feet all day, aren't you? Just
Yeah, and I think the best thing is over the 4 days. If you're there, lucky enough to be there for the 4 days, anyway, Thursday through Sunday, take a little bit of a walk around and look at the different races from all the different angles because. You know, it's fantastic to do that.
It is.
You know, there's lots of places to sit and view and, check things out.
We had a paddock pass included in our entry. Paddock pass meaning we can get into the pits. Would you recommend that?
Yeah, I would.
You would?
Yeah, I would. I find it to be very interesting to go through and see how all the different teams set up. Just watch them in action.
Yep.
You can watch them in action during the races.
The drivers also do walk backwards and forwards to their trucks.
Sometimes you can catch them for a signature. Not that we did. We didn't bugger anybody in that way. But
Corey got a few. But they'll stop and talk to you and sign things for you and stuff. Yeah. I was very lucky to go and do
lovely. He always stops here.
Do a Todd Hazelwood tour.
I didn't get to see Todd. Sorry, his mum.
Yeah, went through the through their pits and into the truck, and we'll put some pictures up of that as well. So thank you to the Hazelwoods for that. But yeah, so pit pass. I don't know how much it costs. I'm not 100% sure. But the other thing that is entertainment and food is Harris Park, which is behind the start finish line, the start straight. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was good too. That's good spots for the kids. They had some old vintage police cars in around there. They had all the different sponsors for the race had set up their own stalls. So you had ones there from Boost Mobile. You had the big Repco store. That was massive.
That was the biggest store ever.
They were doing lots of different giveaways during the day where they're just handing out lots of fantastic things. You got lots of free flags, souvenir shops. There was another fellow who's just selling different types of flags that you could then put up on your campsite, and
the bucket hats,
cardboard beer carton hats.
The army were there.
Yeah,
they had a food court.
Scenic helicopter flights took off from the back there as well.
And we spent a fair bit of time at the bar pub, and also the big stage across the road where they had some pretty cool entertainment, including Elvis Presley.
They did have an impersonated Neil Diamond, Elvis Presley, and then they had the hip replacements the next night.
It was so sad though, because we were there from what time? You reckon 5 till 8?
Probably about 4 actually, through to about
9 o'clock at night, and there was no one there. And these guys were really good. It was quite.
I think the weather had a lot to do with that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoyed walking up and down Harris Park, and just checking things out. It's just really interesting to see how each of the teams, are supported with their sponsorships and.
Yep.
The drivers would sometimes, they had signs up, so the drivers would come in and they do different signing sessions as well. So if you were there, and you could sort of make sure that you'd know what time they're going to be there, so you could go in and get some signatures and signings done. And
a lot of the places like Red Bull and DJR and stuff were giving things away as well. So you just get things for free, and flags and posters and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So really good setup, and all bitumen as well. So there was no mud there at all.
No, there wasn't.
It's
a good place to go, and which is really fortunate for people who are visiting the race and maybe not staying there.
Yep.
I mean, if you had a grandstand seat, you'd be doing pretty well on this trip.
Yeah. The grandstands were thin but good.
They were massive. The scaffolding is so high.
If you go to Bathurst, go into town.
Yeah.
Go into town because it's a beautiful place. We had a ball. We went on the Saturday, and that was the big rain day.
It was raining. I said to Jeff, I said, that's it. I'm not sitting around here. I want to go in and do a little bit of a crawl.
Yep.
A bit of a pub crawl through town.
About 3 kilometres to walk.
Yeah, about 4, I think, to get from where we were down into town.
Yep.
And it was good. It was good for me because I get to reminisce a little bit. I actually went to university at Bathurst. That's Charles Sturt's my old stomping ground. So there's big Bathurst family there as well during their day. It's just
it's a real happening town at that particular week, isn't it? It's just the vibe. The vibe was fantastic. The pubs were great.
They're all set up. The ones that we went into, all of them actually were set up with all the race TVs and things like that. We'd actually started at one that was all themed up, and then we walked down. We went to Knickerbocker. They had all the big screens going as well, so we watched a little bit more of the race because we were waiting for the shootout to happen later on that evening.
Which didn't happen.
And then, we had to go and get something. You need to go shopping or do something. So
deodorant, I think.
And then we ended up all the way down on the main drag and had Hungry Jack's, which was the worst choice I think we've ever made.
Yeah.
And then back up through a couple of pubs again. The Irish pub was good. It had a big screen, it looked like, and some bands going to be playing later. And then we went up to the, what was it? The Queen's Head? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll check the video and that I put up on the Keener Tourist. You'll see that one. And then we went to the Panthers Leagues Club, and we got ourselves settled there.
Not Penrith.
No, not Panorama.
Bathurst.
At Bathurst.
Yeah.
We got ourselves settled there to watch the shootout, and I think, it came on the screen, and that's the first time they cancelled it.
Cancelled because of the weather.
Cancelled. The weather was so bad. And we were sitting there, I remember, with our little bucket that Jeff wouldn't let me take.
The Jim Beam bucket. Yep.
And
I got a picture of that.
And, we got an Uber, which was lucky, but we were just sort of thinking, what are we going to be walking into? Because we got out of the Uber just before, just at the entrance, and we looked over into
the main car park.
The main car park, and it was a nightmare. There were people getting bogged everywhere.
Yeah.
And there were rivers of water coming down the road, and we're still no brolly. It's still pouring rain, and we're making our way down to our campsite. Oh,
and I got a phone call while we were away from Corey saying that your vents are open in your van.
Oh, that's right. We didn't know whether we were going to have all this water inside the van either.
It was pouring. But that's a good one for you too, guys. They do have Uber in Bathurst, and it costs us $10 to get an Uber back. It took a little bit of a wait because I don't think they've got a lot, but $10 to get back from Bathurst town to the track. So,
but it was worth going there, and it wasn't just about the pubs because we got to see a lot of the buildings. There's the park in the middle. Like,
it's just a beautiful place.
If it had been a good day, we could have really gone and had a really good walk around. But we did what we could, and we supported down local as well because we think that's
certainly
really important.
What are your thoughts on if you do leave the track in your car, getting back into the track? You still have to line up, don't you, and go through all the inspections?
Well, yes, you do have to get through the inspections, and the lineups were really interesting because we got there, as you know, on the Tuesday, and I remember on the Friday night, because obviously we were on holidays, we had leave from work and stuff, long service leave, but some people just come for the weekend, and Friday night there were cars lined up the hill all waiting to get into the Orchard campsites.
So if you were in town and coming back, you would still have to queue up in that lineup. Once you got to the lineup, it'd obviously show you your little bracelet thing.
But you'd still have to line up.
And you still got to show them what grog you've got in the car. But you still got to line up. So pick your times when you do go out with your car. But
I'd say Friday night was probably the busiest.
But it's not a huge walk.
It isn't a huge walk. No, if you're able. I think it's pretty... It's sort of downhill into town. You get the Uber back.
All right, we're on the downhill slide here. We're just about done. And I know it's taken a long time, guys, but these are all the things that we didn't know and we wish we had known, and this will make your trip hopefully so much better.
Hopefully.
When you pack up and leave, you've got to be out on Monday morning. Normally it's 10 a.m. Thousands of campers leaving a one-way street to get out by 10 a.m. Because the weather, the mud, they let us stay until 4 o'clock. But we packed up, Alison packed up on the Sunday most of the gear, got our awning and everything down, and we were pretty much ready to go. Left about 10 o'clock on...
No, we left earlier than that.
Did we?
Yeah, we left much earlier than that. We were out of there by about 8:30.
Yep.
And, we didn't have much waiting time to get out onto... I can't remember the name of the street now. But, Corey and Ange needed to go to the servo, so that proved a little bit difficult because I was sort of showing them the way and then we sort of lost contact. But then I took Jeff down a side street because that's, knowledge of the of the town.
That's what she does.
So we could have gone down, I think it was Seymour Street, wasn't it? Seymour,
at the wool store.
Yeah, so everyone's lined up down that street. We hopped across and we went down the other one and then we sort of scooted out and got out.
The lineup of caravans.
It was just, yeah.
If we drove to the east coast, so we went through where, Ali, you're the expert. Which way did we go?
We went through Lithgow, then up through Katoomba and...
Over the mountains.
Over the mountain, down through Penrith, and then took the turn to go to Wollongong.
There were so many cars. It was just a line up. And I think because we were earlier, we got away from it, but it got really bad that afternoon. So just be mindful if you are flying out or you have to be in somewhere on that Monday afternoon. It's going to take you time. It's going to take you hours to get out of the place. So... don't think it's time to... A lot of people pack up on Sunday afternoon and leave. That spreads it out a bit.
There were people starting to leave that night. A lot of people sort of stayed on and were taking advantage of the late Monday.
Yep.
But no, I think we did the right thing.
Yep.
Yeah, no one wants to be stuck in traffic on their way out.
No.
It would have been hard too, being stuck in traffic, needing to get fuel and things like that. If you're on your way back.
Yeah. So bottom line is, guys, that we had a pretty bad situation with the rain, and you have a choice of embracing it and having a great time, or sucking it up and sitting in your caravan and doing nothing. We embraced it and had a ball.
Yeah, we embraced it. I loved every single moment of it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It's a bucket list for me, and I've ticked it off. Would I go again? Yeah.
I think so. Why not? Yeah.
Well, guys, I hope this has been helpful for you, and I know it's dragged on, it's gone a long time, but as I said, these are the things that we would have liked to have known when we set off.
Yeah, we probably only really just scratched the surface. There's probably 1,000 other questions.
There is, and if you do have questions, please make a comment.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to you.
Anything, yeah. And don't forget that if you want to see the summer, the whole event sort of summarised in video, you can check out
not the race,
not the race,
our holiday. If you're interested and you'd like to see a couple of interviews, my mate Glenn and I, who do the Friday Frothy, have interviewed Todd Hazelwood. As you can see, I'm wearing his shirt. Well, not his shirt; he doesn't wear it. But and we've also interviewed Mick Webb. We can probably put links down the bottom. Is that all right?
Yeah, I think we could
to those interviews. Mick Webb was the engineer and mechanic for Alan Moffat, Colin Bond, Peter Brock, Jim Richards. He's built cars and engineered them, for all of the best drivers. So it's a really good watch.
Yeah, lots. All right.
That's on the Friday Frothy.
That is on the Friday Frothy. That's a Friday Frothy.
Nice work. Goodbye, all. I hope that's helped.